It just doesn't make sense to me.
But
you have to submit it to the public that you're creating an account.
what we're in effect doing is basically collecting money to get us out of the rat.
But you have to make public notice that this is what you're doing, what you're doing.
You can't do that because you can't.
Then you can't collect it.
No, we'll just put it on the bill, and we'll take how much you owe.
Now, here's another hoo-ha.
Turn that, did you turn that switch? Yeah, we're on, you know where it is.
Yeah, all of it, all of them are like that.
You got that on? Yep. Okay.
You're an engineer.
But we're standing up.
What's that?
Everybody's standing up, so I stand up, or sit up.
Testing water. It's 1.6 to 1.7 when it leaves the water plant.
That's the residual.
At DCW, on the average, 0.019
I'd like to call the Town of Alexandria Board meeting to order for October 19th, 2022. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As far as the motion to pay the bills, we're gonna hold off on that. Nicole has been in and out with a sickness, and she'll be back in tomorrow. She didn't quite finish all the bills. Some of the board members have been through them. I'd like to adjourn this meeting at the end of the meeting till Friday. And we really, it'll be very simple. We just need some board members here to approve the bills.
3 of us, yeah.
So that the bills can be mailed.
What time?
And we'll do that. I'd like to do it first thing in the morning, because Nicole's gotta print everything.
That's fine with me.
Whatever works for everybody.
What do you mean by first thing?
Well, I was gonna say, in the morning, 9, 10 o'clock.
That'll work for you 3, I won't be able to be there.
Would you be there at the end of the day?
Well, I need 3.
You only need 3.
Mike, you gonna be around?
So 9 o'clock, 10
Yeah.
o'clock? 9 o'clock.
If 9 o'clock is right for you
9
guys?
o'clock.
Okay, sure.
Okay. But we'll do that when we get to it, okay?
Yep.
That's just for us to talk about. That was the bills and meeting minutes. Has anybody had a chance to look at those?
I looked at the 2 ahead, in front of us.
She emailed them all to us, right, Donna?
Yes,
And, there's copies of them here too.
and the ones from before haven't been approved either, the ones, the big
The big
pile of
packet,
them,
yep.
they have not been approved yet.
So do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve September and October, I haven't made my way through
Yep.
the...
Yep.
I'll second.
Second by Ron.
Yep.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none. So that was, she's got that September, October. The next item is the public hearing for the tax cap override. We advertised the public hearing. We have followed everything that we're supposed to do in order to override the tax cap. But the good news is, in the last week, we've had a lot of budget meetings, and we do not need to override the tax cap. Our tax rate that we have right now in the preliminary budget is 0.8765 per thousand. That's a decrease in the tax rate of 0.0524 or 5.24 cents, or 5.64% decrease.
But we still need to do this in case something happens, the state of New York drops something on us.
Yeah.
I mean, it just gives us the ability
Yeah.
to, and the intent is not to.
Because of the advertising, the advertising that's required and everything else, that's why we, just like you said, that's why we do it. And that's why we set the public hearing, because we didn't know for sure where the numbers were coming in.
Right.
So we're not gonna override the tax cap, so we'll move on.
You know, hold the public hearing though?
Yeah, you gotta hold it.
We gotta hold
I
it.
thought Andy said we'd cancel it.
Well, it was just like a just in case sort of thing.
If you want to, you can. There's
Yeah.
nothing says you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to, go ahead. Yeah, it's fine.
So do you wanna hold it?
I think it makes sense.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Questions regarding it?
Yeah.
So we'll open the public hearing, a motion to open it.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Sean, second by Ron.
Yep.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Well, to open it, yeah, aye,
So the public hearing's open.
yep.
Anybody wanna speak as far as the tax cap override public hearing? Nope. Motion to close the public hearing.
Motion closed.
Motion by Ron, second by Sean. Any discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none. So, as I said earlier, we're not gonna override the tax cap, so I think we can finish that.
Right, but I believe that we introduced it at the last meeting, so now we have the public hearing, now I think we just vote on whether we want to or not override it. So, we're not going to, but I think there's one last step that we've still gotta do, which is.
So if we do a motion to override it, then obviously it's not gonna pass, so is that?
No.
Or do we just do a motion to?
No, it gives us the ability to, should we need to. I'm just saying. 'Cause
After this?
we introduced it at our last meeting, subject to a public hearing. We just had the public hearing, now we vote on it, we've done it before, we haven't we haven't exceeded the tax cap, but we had the ability to if we had to.
Okay, sweet.
Just leave it.
What's that?
Leave it, you know, we voted to use it if we need to, but in all likelihood, we're not.
Right, cause this isn't final until like the 9th or 10th of November.
Correct.
God forbid something happens in between, that's all it is, it's just for the interim in case something happens.
That's all it is.
I mean,
So Andy, how do we handle it?
You can just close the public hearing.
yeah, we just did.
Yeah.
Now, don't we need to vote on what we introduced at the, which is the actual,
Budget?
to be able to override it? Because we're not gonna adopt the final budget until a couple weeks from now, like the 9th or 10th of November.
You're not gonna vote to override that tonight.
No, but I was under the understanding that it gave us the ability to later, if we did that now, cause you have to do, I know the time frame. You have to do it ahead of time to
Yes,
have
you
the
do.
ability. And yet, our budget is not final, this is our second, I always get the name, this tentative, preliminary, final.
This is preliminary.
This is gonna be preliminary, and then the final, and should we need to exceed the tax cap in the final, that's all I'm saying, just have the ability to be able to do that.
Right, you don't anticipate doing that.
Not
but you're-
whatsoever.
You're reserving the right to raise that following the completion of the public hearing tonight. But you're not in a position to make that decision tonight,
We
whether or
do-
not you're gonna raise the tax cap.
It's just
Well,
not final.
If the preliminary becomes the final, which is a good chance it will, there's no need to.
Okay.
But if something happens between now and when we adopt the final budget, it gives us the ability to,
So you wanna preserve your right to do that?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah,
yeah, fine.
okay.
So we want to do what?
We can just vote on overriding the tax cap. In other words, we're gonna override the tax cap and then we're not going to in all reality.
Yeah.
Make the motion, Ron.
Wow.
Make the motion, Ron.
Make a motion.
Yes. No, actually, the motion's already been made, that's what we did a month
just
ago.
need to-
That's why we don't have to introduce it again, because it's already on.
We just need to
We
vote.
made it subject to, which is the public hearing, we've done the public hearing, now we just have to vote. And I vote yes.
I believe yes.
Yes?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
So 4 votes for yes.
That was painful, thank you,
Yeah.
sorry about that.
Yep. Well, I know what you're saying.
No,
You don't know what can happen between now and
that's all. You stayed in New York?
second week in November.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, that brings us to the first item on the agenda, which is everybody's got a copy of the 2023 preliminary town budget in front of them.
Yes, privilege of the floor.
Privilege of the floor.
Privilege of the floor, I'm sorry. Go ahead, privilege of the floor. Anybody have anything to say?
Steve Jarvis, I'll speak. Talking with Mr. Fayette. The Carnegie Bay Water District, the DPW barn is in that district. So far, we received 2 of the water bills for this year, and now has a water reserve finance fee, $75. I went back through last year's hearings, your meetings. The only hearings you've had is to change your billing system to EDU, but nothing stated that you're now gonna have a water reserve fee account for each water district. So, according to, I spoke with the village attorney, he says should have been some type of permissive referendum in creating this new fee that started in, I believe it was the April bill.
Started January first. Came out on the
Started
bill in
January
April.
first, but was in the April
Came out
bill.
on the April bill.
But the only hearings you had was changing your system to charge under an EDU status. Nothing said anything about a water reserve fee account.
You're partially correct. We've charged, by EDUs from day one. That has not changed at all.
You charged what?
For EDUs from day one in all our sewer and water districts. That's always been the case. We have changed, how we charge the EDUs, and we actually have changed, we extracted the capital portion out of all our sewer and water districts, and that ends up in people's annual taxes. We did do those, that has actually happened. Now, what you're referring to, the reserve, from what I've been told, and I'm sure our attorney could back me up on this one, you cannot actually have a reserve fund if your district, in this case, the Carnegie Bay Water District, is not in the black at all. So in effect, what we're doing is collecting money to get us out of the red and into the black. Our budget, we have the word reserve multiple times, and we have been told by our consultant that, our budget consultant, that what I just got done saying about the reserve, unless you actually set up the reserve, you can have the word reserve, but you actually don't have a reserve. That's actually a very true, all that is completely true.
So you're saying we have a negative fund balance at this time?
Yes.
On paper, the bill states a water reserve account fee. Whether you're in the red or the black, it states a
But you
reserve account
cannot
fee.
have a reserve
But
fund.
no
You cannot have a
hearings been set
reserve
up.
fund unless you're in the black, no matter what it says.
So it's
So you're
incorrectly
charging-
stated on the bill.
Yeah, that's,
Pardon me?
It's incorrectly stated on the bill.
So it needs to be corrected as to what the fee is for.
it's true.
My understanding is to get
And I've
rid of
had-
the
Operation
negative,
and
there's a
maintenance.
negative fund balance, and this is to get rid of the negative fund balance, that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
So it says water reserve account fee in every water EDU in every district?
Yeah.
Or just the Carnegie Bay?
No, we're attempting to set up, and you're right, everyone, we're trying to set up a reserve fund in every single, either water,
So with
sewer
that,
account.
there should be a permissive referendum. According to
Yeah.
our village attorney, there should be a meeting, hearing, permissive referendum, whatever term you wanna call it, for the public to be informed, correct, sir?
This is the first time hearing of this, so I don't know.
So if
about
you're
it,
setting up a
doesn't really comment.
reserve account fee and charging, it's like doing the EDUs and saying this is what we're gonna charge, the public has to be notified. But with this account, the public has not been notified,
Because we haven't set up any reserve funds at all, because we,
but you're charging it.
We're getting rid of the negative
But
fund
you're-
balance
but
that we
the-
have, it's not a reserve.
well,
But the
Ronnie's,
statement says
Right.
reserve
And as I
account
said, it's
fee.
incorrectly, because aren't you, as
So
a
the wording
village,
is wrong.
aren't you setting up, because didn't you have, what was the engineering firm? Dank came in and
Yes.
basically told you what you needed on a yearly basis to be able to
Yep.
take care of future problems, so to speak?
Yep,
And
and we
replace,
we put it into a hearing as to what we were doing.
and when we get to that, we'll do the same thing.
But we didn't charge before we had the hearing.
Right, but we have a
Here's
negative
another
fund.
issue with that district.
no,
The
it's just a legal
milli
requirement.
equivalent of
He's right in that
chlorine,
regard.
when we produce it at our water plant is 1.6, 1.7, and your engineer can confirm that's about what it should be. But down at the DPW, Pat's been testing it, because it's a dead end and fewer people using it, it's ending up lately as 0.019 milli equivalent, which is extremely low, correct? So somewhere the town needs to look at how that can be circulated. That's why our last water bill was high, because trying to run the water so that the chlorine level is within the acceptable level.
Mhm.
Jamie, you flush stuff down there and run water?
I
I talked to you last week and you were running water down there
Right, I flush once a month there.
to get the chlorine levels where they're supposed to be.
You do that with the fire hydrant,
Yes.
and where's it in relation to the last house?
It's right beside the last house.
Okay,
Yeah.
and you guys are in between, so when he flushes that, that should be helping them, right? Well, helping everybody if it's at the end.
By rights, when the village selling us water, it should always be above a .3 at all times. Cause they're selling us,
Yeah, it's,
potable water.
Right,
So that water that at Carnegie Bay is not going through any of our stations,
No, it would go through,
comes from the village.
right,
right,
So it's the village's water all the way.
right.
If we have no,
but if it's,
we have no place that we add chlorine to it, that's just, so if we have low chlorine levels, has nothing to do with what you're doing or not doing.
Right.
the only thing it's doing is opening it so that it flows rather than just
Well, the only thing we can
being
do
a
is what
deadhead.
the only thing we do is what he's doing, opening up the hydrant every once in a while
And
to
then-
flush it.
And how long do you run the water?
I usually run it till it gets up to like a .2 or 3. I mean, the water dies, the chlorine level in the summertime, and it don't last long.
No,
No, you know, so like in Redwood, I have dead ends, so I have to, once a day, I go to a different hydrant and flush, get the chlorine level back up. It's just part of doing business.
how often does your water department flush the last hydrant before it hits the Carnegie Bay master meter?
I couldn't answer that right now.
Cause that's basically a dead end,
I have to ask Pat how often.
yeah,
I couldn't answer that right now.
cause that would help also.
So,
Yeah.
by me flushing, getting the chlorine out
It pulls their water into,
I'm doing the village a favor, cause I'm pulling chlorine through their system.
That's why I asked that question.
Right, so we're getting billed to keep their chlorine up.
Unless they're doing it once a month like we are.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Okay. Any other public?
I'd like to address the board regarding a follow-up issue regarding Tennis Island and the marine residential zoning code. And if it's most appropriate to do this at a sidebar with Mr. Silver, that would be fine with me. I was just wondering where we stood regarding the zone enforcement of the,
I'm not hearing everything. On the marine residential district?
yeah, on Tennis Island and the zone
Oh,
enforcement
yeah.
issues. And I was just wondering where we stood regarding the follow-up with that. But
So you're talking about the short-term rentals, or,
Oh, the main
because
rent.
we've got a couple things going on right now. We got the short-term rentals, and then we also have the zoning in regard to marine residential, and specifically, the islands, of which Tennis Island obviously is one.
Relative to the formal complaint that I put in June 2022, this year, I put in a formal complaint, and I've spoken with Attorney Silver regarding it,
Mhm.
and I was following up as to where do we stand with that. Is that just for a sidebar?
It's your meeting, gentlemen. I mean, my legal advice is reserved for you. If you would like me to talk to a member of the public on your behalf, I'm happy to do that. But I will not be out ahead of where the board is. But I'm happy to have a conversation with this, woman if you'd like me to. I know, we've talked about this issue in the past, and I will report back to you what the issues are. But the letter, the compliance period in the letter that I sent to those homeowners, I just don't know if it's expired yet. We gave them 2 weeks to reply or 15 days to reply. I just don't have that file in front of me. They're getting near the end of it.
But to your recollection, they haven't responded yet.
I have not, I asked those homeowners to contact me directly or have their attorneys do so, and they have not done that.
So that's where it's at.
Okay.
And that letter went out about a week and a half ago.
We're closing in on 2 weeks.
And I know they have the letter because I saw a resident that showed me a copy of it.
Right.
Okay. Was there any other correspondence sent out to the rest of the residents on Tennis Island, or was that the only letter that's been sent out from the town of Alexandria thus far?
The only letter that has left my office is the letter that's directed to the 2 landowners in question. I have not communicated and I have not been authorized to communicate by this board with anybody else.
All right, thank you very much, appreciate your time.
Any other public concerns? Okay, now we'll move on to the budget, or the agenda, presentation of the 223 preliminary town budget. Anybody have any input on that?
Right here.
It'll go on our website, tomorrow. And we'll have, you can come in here and get a copy of it. What were we doing? We had the discussion before. Are we charging for a copy of it, or are we? Actually, the best thing to do is go on the website. You don't have to worry about charging.
Right.
What have we done in the past?
What changed?
It's been an issue.
I know what changed on the, oh, okay.
So the fund balance in, A was decreased by 60. The fund balance in B was increased by 60. So that was a wash. And in order to be able to decrease, that by 60, sales tax was increased by 60 up here.
Okay.
So basically what it's gonna do is the general fund B, fund balance is gonna go down by 60 from what it would have been.
Yeah.
And then this one is going to actually be 177 less, but 60 more than it would have been.
Okay.
Yep. And then we dropped that one by 2,000, and then these are the two numbers here. That's the tax cap number, and that's what the actual is.
You said 800,000 there, so I guess it was 800 and some change.
Yeah, so we're like $200 under the 2% tax cap.
Nice work.
Right.
Okay. What are we doing here tonight? Setting the public hearing?
Just establishing a preliminary budget, is that?
We're just making this official, because we had tentative.
Okay,
Now
but we're just,
No public hearing, no.
okay, because, our water sewer committee, like, last night at our budget hearing, there was a little bit of back and forth or conversation on the water and sewer districts. We're starting to look at that, like I promised last night.
And our next effort will be the final, so anything that needs to be changed with this, which is what you're talking about, as far as water, we still have the ability to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Next item, new town local law number 2 to establish the residency requirements for the appointed deputy town clerk for the town of Alexandria. I'll read this local law number 2. A local law to establish the residency requirements for the appointment of office of the deputy town clerk for the town of Alexandria. Be it enacted by the town board of the town of Alexandria as follows. Section 1. A local law to establish the residency requirements for the appointed office of deputy town clerk. Section 2. Authority. This local law is adopted pursuant to municipal home rule law 10 IA1 that grants to local governments the authority to enact local laws regarding the qualifications of local officers. Furthermore, the local law recognizes that the state legislature amended Public Officers Law 3, adding a new subdivision including, but not limited to, subdivision 24, expanding the residency requirements for any appointed public office in the town of
This is not right.
Alexandria.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
It just doesn't apply, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a reference.
Yes.
Oh, it's a reference, okay.
Town of Greenville, Westchester County, and others, thereby rendering Public Officers Law a special law with respect to any appointed town officer. Section of New York Attorney General number 91-37 and number 2000-5. Section 3, supersession. This local law supersedes town law in its application to the office of Deputy Town Clerk for the town of Alexandria. Section 4. Residency requirements for the position of Deputy Town Clerk for the town of Alexandria. The person holding the office of Deputy Town Clerk in the town of Alexandria not need be a resident nor an elector of the town of Alexandria, provided, however, that such person shall reside in the county which such town is located or an adjoining county within the state of New York. Section 5. Inconsistency. All other local laws and ordinances of the town of Alexandria that are inconsistent with the provisions of this local law are hereby repealed, provided, however, that such repeal shall only be to the extent of such inconsistency. In all other respects, this local law shall be in addition to such other local laws or ordinances regulating and governing the subject matter covered by this local law. Section 6, Savings Clause. And any clause, sentence, paragraph, word, section, or part of this local law shall be adjudged by any court of competent jurisdiction to be unconstitutional, illegal, or invalid. Such judgment shall not affect, impair, or invalidate the remainder, therefore, but shall be confined to, in its operation of the clause, sentence, paragraph, work, section, of part thereof directly involved in the controversy in which such judgment shall have been rendered. Section 7, effective date. The local law shall take effect immediately upon the filing with the New York State Secretary of State. Certification of necessity. Pursuant to the authority invested in me as town supervisor of the town of Alexandria, I, Brent C., by section 20 of the municipal home rule law, hereby certify to the necessity for the immediate passage of this local law entitled, "A Local Law to Establish the Residency Requirements for the Appointed Office of Deputy Town Clerk," given under my seal on this 19th day of October, 2022, in the town of Alexandria, New York. Next step, Andy?
So the next step, is you have to set a public hearing. So you've got a 5-day, notice requirement. So from the date, between the issuance of the notice, which is published in the newspaper, and until the hearing occurs, it's gotta be 5 days. All right? In the certification of necessity, the statement that you just made, you're certifying that there's a reason for this. And if you want to elaborate on what that reason is tonight, you're certainly empowered to do that, so it's clear why you're doing this.
Yeah. I mean, the situation is that, our deputy town clerk doesn't live in the town of Alexandria, and she doesn't have, because of that, she isn't able to sign all the certificates that you deal with, marriage licenses, death certificates, so on and so forth. And we don't have a town clerk that's been here to be able to do that either. So we're just trying to keep our office open and do the paperwork that we need to do for the taxpayers.
And as I understand it, we don't have an understanding of when our town clerk will return.
I don't believe any board members had any contact with the town clerk in a long time.
So the town finds itself in a position where it's effectively without a town clerk, not knowing when our town clerk will return.
Correct.
So that's the necessity.
Yep, that's the huge necessity that we're dealing with.
It's been 10 weeks already, right?
Between 9 and 10.
All right, so when you say 10 weeks, let's just clarify for the record what you mean by that. 10 weeks since what?
Since the town clerk has been in this building.
I mean, Donna, you and I went through the calendar the other day, and
Yeah, I know the week of July 11th, she had me work, well, she was on vacation for that week.
yeah,
And then I worked a couple days after that, and then Mark and I left on a cruise, but she called, she got a hold of me while we were still in Alaska to work that following week, and that was like in the first part of August. So, it was, you know, and then when I got back, I came back and have been here ever since.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. I have tried to contact her,
Yeah.
but to no avail.
So that's the necessity.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's why
okay.
the board would like to pass this local laws to fill that gap, because we're effectively without a town clerk.
Right.
Okay, yep, that suffices.
I thought that with this immediate certification of necessity,
We could do this tonight?
I thought we could do it tonight. The thing that we got from the Association of Towns told us that we didn't have to go through the process
That's right.
any
That's
further than. Everybody read that?
I was under that impression.
I was too.
Me
I
too.
was too.
Yeah, I don't, that's not my understanding of it. It's still, the local law is still subject to a public hearing requirement. And I think you can expedite the public hearing. There's a 7-day period of time, right, and there's a 5-day period of time. You should declare it a necessity tonight and then publish and schedule the public hearing 5 days from that date of publication and hold a public hearing and then pass it.
Okay.
That's my opinion on
That's
what
what
you
we
should
got,
do.
yeah. So I guess I need a motion to declare it a necessity.
Absolutely. Based on the statement that you just made, we'll declare it a necessity and then publish for the public hearing and then hold that public hearing. And on the night of that public hearing, you're allowed to enact that local law.
I'll make that motion.
There's no further there's
I'll
no
make the
further
motion.
waiting period.
Yeah. You make the motion?
I'll second.
Second by Ron. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? None.
Oh, yes, that date.
So set it.
Right.
So we gonna set a date?
We gotta set up a public hearing, date and time,
The next.
and we got 5 days of
We gotta
advertising.
publish, yeah.
Right, the next TI song comes out a week from today, which would be the 26th. The Watertown Daily Times is, from what you said, it's not like it could be in tomorrow. One of the handy things about the Times was you could get it in quicker, and depending on how close we were to when the sun was gonna come out. But I don't understand exactly what the deadlines are not like they used to be for the,
I
I'm
think
thinking, but
Don is
today's
done.
Wednesday, I know that I can have it in the Times by Friday,
Okay.
I know
oh,
that.
2 days, okay.
Yeah, he's really good when I give him
Oh,
a
okay,
call.
so if you got ahold of them tomorrow, they put it in the next day,
Mm-hmm,
okay.
Yeah.
So the clock could start ticking on Friday.
That's right,
Okay,
the first date of publication.
all right,
Could you include weekend days?
On that 5 days, yeah, not Sunday.
Okay.
okay. So the day of
You there,
publication
Gene?
count,
Yep,
okay. So it'll be that Wednesday, 26th.
I'm sorry, what?
The 26th would be it would be that would be actual 5 days, cause you'd have Friday, Saturday, and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So would it be the 27th, or would you do it the night of the 26th?
I would do it on the next day.
27th
I
would be
would,
safe,
yep.
yeah.
That's right.
So the 27th is the earliest,
And that's Thursday.
that's a Thursday.
Yeah.
We're planning on adjourning this meeting until the 21st, right?
Yeah.
And then we could adjourn that meeting until the 27th.
And we would advertise the public hearing for the 27th?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I guess what,
I need a motion. Sean already made a motion. Anything else here?
well, we agreed to adopt,
The law.
what do they call it, certification of necessity, whatever.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now we need to make a motion to set a public hearing for October 27th. I'm gonna be out of town,
What
but
time
we
is
just need
good?
3.
What time?
Yeah,
Thursday.
I don't know, I'm pretty,
Should be pretty,
Earlier, later.
should be a quick meeting.
right,
3:30, 4?
Yep. 4, okay?
Mm-hmm.
that works for me.
Now, the only thing is, this is for a public hearing, right? 3:34 is not convenient for people that are working. I mean, the intent of the public hearing is for the
So
public to come and express
you're saying
their
have it a little
opinion.
bit later?
I'm not gonna be here.
No,
but I'm
no, but that makes sense.
Yeah,
6?
I'm thinking, if you say 6, then people can come after work.
So I guess we need a motion then.
Make a motion, we set a public hearing up for October 27th at 6 P.M.
Second by Sean. Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Brent, I will probably be out of town till at least 6 o'clock Thursday night, cause I'll be traveling again for work.
If we have 3, we're good.
Okay. Okay, Jane, thank you. Any other discussion? Gene, do you want us to move this later so you could be here? Do you feel it's important to be here? Do you want us, you tell me.
No, I can call in as long as it's not gonna affect getting it passed.
Okay,
He can't vote
He
on the
can't
call-in though.
that's why he's talking about getting it passed. If there'll be 3 of us here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll leave it at 6, okay, Gene?
Yep.
Okay. Discussion's over. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none. Tax cap override, we've already discussed that.
Town engineer?
Town engineer report. I'm sorry, the Rob Campany report. Who's the health officer?
Health
also.
officer, I was just gonna say.
I'm healthy, I feel great. Goose Bay, we got our waiver. Remember we had a little discussion last month.
Well, good deal.
Speaking of that, the state people are all coming
They're
tomorrow.
all coming tomorrow, well, Irene's come, people from the dormitory are coming and the Department of State. For what I don't know, but they're gonna be here tomorrow. to have a meeting at 10, I believe,
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And then they wanna go to the Goose Bay boat launch.
Yeah.
After, so,
Has anything happened at the Goose Bay?
No.
Nothing, right?
no, never gonna happen till
This
spring,
is like taking before pictures?
I guess.
Water's a lot lower, that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, we got the waiver.
And the waiver, to explain the waiver allows us to do the work in the water and around the water's edge in the spring,
Right.
when there's a period of time that usually is not allowed. And we got a waiver
So
from
we
you.
gotta write another letter and plead our case and say,
But there's gonna be a silk curtain and everything
Yeah.
to, right.
yeah, makes all kinds of sense, so, we're on for April. Late April, early May, I forget the exact dates, we did block out a 3-week period of time.
That was the contractor
Yep.
said that would work, right?
Contractor said that. Because we also are requesting waiver for Fisher's Landing, same contractor, so they're gonna do one or the other first, and then go to the other boat launch. So, anyway, so that's all set, nothing's gonna happen till spring. I expect early in the spring, they'll probably clear and start working on that parking lot. Okay, in the spring, which is a good thing. So, that's it on Goose Bay.
We need to monitor that boat ramp situation pretty closely because of what we see at Holland Street. Make sure that doesn't happen again.
It won't.
You get a response on that?
I'll take
Part
full
of this meeting tomorrow.
responsibility.
It's 10 o'clock for the state people. Okay.
Yeah. Butterfield Lake, the pavilion, we got a letter, okay to put that pavilion up on pipe, so that's
Is that a letter or a permit?
letter, it doesn't require a permit.
Okay.
So it's basically a notification of non-jurisdiction.
Yep.
Okay. So that's good. Swan Bay, somebody mentioned to me Swan Bay info on the outlet. Did you told me?
I did because,
Somebody thought they had
pictures, and
information.
he's supposed to be looking for those pictures and get back a hold of me.
Okay.
And give me a copy of the pictures.
Right, okay,
And that's the one thing that we've been looking for 2 years.
right, evidence
Somebody's got a picture of where that pipe is?
of pipe, bridge, something.
Yeah.
Really?
that
They
shows-
found it?
No, they didn't find it. Somebody has an old picture.
Yeah.
The guy who lives there on the road, matter of fact.
So I haven't done anything on Swan Bay, just because I don't think there's anywhere to go until we have some evidence.
Some proof.
And then if you wanna set up another meeting with the DC, to pursue that again, we certainly can do that. They're gonna want a hydraulic analysis, I know that, they're gonna want to spend, somebody to spend money. Whether the DEC can help us with that, given evidence, I mean, that's a possibility, right? But until we get this evidence, I think it's no point.
I'll definitely get a hold of you if that picture comes in.
Yep. Route 12 sewer, we still don't have DOT approval. We reached out to them. Apparently they never got the boring information we did this summer, and we had to take more boring, send it to them. So we sent that to them again. I think we ought to bid this thing in late November, early December, and get contractor numbers in. That's my opinion. We'll deal with the DOT down the road, working to get their approval. They really don't have any approval, with the town. The town can go to bid without their acceptance of the plans. It only is critical when you get a contractor on board. The contractor will be the actual permit holder to do work in the right of way. So, we usually like to have any issues nailed down ahead of time, but they're so slow getting things through their permitting department that I say we bid it. Okay, I won't put that in.
What do you need from us?
Nothing, unless you wanna pass a resolution and go to bid, authorize me to advertise for it.
Might as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll make a motion.
What are we authorizing?
authorizing
Go to
for
bid.
a sewer project
Yeah.
to
Okay.
advertise.
Rob, take it to bid.
Motion by Sean, second by Ron. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
So in the next couple of weeks, I'll do a bid advertisement, I'll send it to you, it can be published, and, get some numbers back,
Great.
alright?
Okay.
That's all I think I
I
had.
had the PESH on there for the next thing, where's any,
I sent that in, and I haven't heard anything back.
how long ago would you say it was sent in?
Couple months.
Month or two, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, did you get a letter back from HUD on the Redwood Sewer grant application? Do you recall getting?
The $125,000 grant or the big grant?
No, the $1 million grant.
Not that I know of.
Okay.
I thought we got kinda shot down on that.
Well,
I got the letter that said they didn't get all the documentation that I talked to
Right.
you about on a different
Correct.
application.
no.
Or on that,
That one, so I had a conference call with HUD. We probably ought to do the same thing. I had a conference call with another community who has a community that met the low to moderate income standard. So they have a website, HUD has a website where you could look up everywhere that the census data shows that communities are low to moderate income, right? Redwood's on that database. Part of the application was you had to submit proof that they met the criteria, the low to moderate income. So you send a screenshot of their map, their database, and send it in with the application.
Their own.
Their own
Okay,
database.
that's what I thought you
Okay,
said.
it's on their website. Send it in, feedback is that the definition of the hamlet from their census block data does not exactly match the sewer district boundary. There are a few parcels in and.
It doesn't have to. It's two different things.
Exactly, but because of those slight differences, they don't have 100% proof that the Redwood Sewer District meets the low to moderate income criteria. It's crazy, you know.
you had a conference call about it?
I had a conference call about it. And they want, if we wanna pursue HUD funding, we have to do an income survey over there.
For the parcels that are in and out, or the entire deal? Why would we have to do the whole thing if their problem is only with those certain parcels?
So, you know, they want evidence, they want concrete evidence that the exact boundary of the sewer district doesn't meet, or
So
meets the low.
what does it take to do an income survey?
Well, you got basically two options. Required response is pretty high. They want like an 80 or 85% response rate, number one.
For this kind of personal
Have
information?
people telling them how much they make?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, we got two ways I've done it. One way is to use RCAP. I don't know if you all remember Scotty Mueller, right, lives in Redwood, works for RCAP. He has a couple people that do income surveys, but they don't really do them. They give you the paper, right, to give to the homeowner, and the homeowner fills it out. It's supposed to stick it in the mail. It goes to their office in Massachusetts. They collect the data and keep it confidential, so nobody knows, right, who's making what. But they don't knock on doors. They used to kind of.
So these people that are
So-
involved in the survey have to mail their stuff to Massachusetts, is what
Correct.
they're making.
So they'll do that at no cost to you.
Who will do that?
RCAP will help you, provide you with the survey forms. You'll have to mail them out, but they won't go door to door to make sure.
Who is RCAP?
A Rural Community Assistance Program.
Okay.
And they're
So it's
funded by
Gotta be over 85%
80 or 85, it depends on the exact.
positive response.
So unless you guys wanna go knocking on doors, which I don't think you do, there is a guy from, I think, he's from outside of Syracuse, but I've worked with before, and he'll do income surveys, and he'll knock on doors, and he'll explain to the people what it's for, you know, it's to get grant money, yada yada, and help them fill out the form, and make sure, he does everything but lick the stamp and put it in their mailbox, but I don't know, $6-7 grand probably to do 100 or 200 income surveys. You know, so
So the information they have on their website currently, how did they get that?
Census data, US Census data,
Okay.
block data, you know, the census blocks. I don't know who draws the boundaries of a census block.
How did they get the boundary of the hamlet?
It's in, our engineering report has a district boundary.
I know this topic, cause I've dealt with it before. Hamlets are kind of one of those funny things. Some hamlets are former villages, and there was a village boundary.
Right.
Is that how Redwood's hamlet boundaries were determined?
I don't know. I can't.
Otherwise, a hamlet is a pretty nebulous, there's no boundary, there's no actual line other than, unless it was a former village.
I think we ought to set up a call with Charlie Fillion at HUD and have him tell you the same thing you told me. I said to Charlie, why the hell are you putting this stuff on your website then? Well, I know, but we can't process your application because it doesn't match. It's crazy. So, I can call Charlie, we can try to set up a call.
Yeah, no, it's well worth it.
Yeah, he won't talk to me as the town engineer. An elected official has to be on the line with me,
Okay.
so I'll set that up.
How much were we applying for?
Million, right?
$1,200,000, I think.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
tell me when you wanna do it, we'll set up a.
what's that?
I said, I'll carry the things and knock on doors and tell
Yeah.
them what it's for. Sean, come on, you're part of Redwood, let's do it.
They won't give it to us, I don't think.
Yeah.
No, if AARP gives you the form,
Yeah.
I mean, if you wanna try
Send it in.
that, I can, so
but we
Candace,
gotta find out from HUD, who exactly do they want in this? If
Yeah.
they didn't like our hamlet numbers.
they'll want the.
Problem, what if you come back with something that's not matching up to?
You gotta nail down. The other district I was dealing with, same thing, DePolo, right?
Just another question,
Same thing.
in this document that we're gonna produce, there's a very good chance that some of these people that are gonna ask their income of are not in the district.
You only wanna survey those that are in the district.
I thought they wanted the whole hamlet,
No, they want
They have the
everybody
hamlet.
within the boundary, they want surveyed,
so
the
the,
district boundary.
okay, yeah, this seems kind of,
They don't know who to exclude, and
okay.
they don't know how much on the ones that are outside.
Yeah, all they know is when they look at their census block data and they overlay our map as
Doesn't
a
match.
district boundary, it doesn't match perfectly.
So our district boundary is within the
And outside, inside and
I don't think it's entirely within.
that's what I'm saying.
Probably both.
So we're gonna get some district members that are not in the hamlet.
It has nothing to do with the hamlet.
I
Well, they
thought you
should
said
tell
it
us.
did.
It did originally, because that's where the.
I don't know
data
where
came
the
from.
census block lines came from. I don't know if
Okay,
they follow a hamlet line.
And they only care about
Even
the
a hamlet
district.
line, there's no such thing as a hamlet line, is there?
Well, like I
Is hamlet
said,
defined?
yeah, the other is,
A boundary? I don't think so.
if it was a former village, that's
So
what they
anyway,
follow.
For 37, when they hit.
Yeah. I'll set up a call with Charlie Fillion
Okay.
at HUD.
Okay,
Try to,
anything else, Rob?
I don't think so. Sorry, there's enough time.
Is it a health department, health?
No health issues, and I'm, to the best of my knowledge. You're good, I'm good.
Do you assist the health?
Okay, he answered the PES reimbursement. We don't have an answer on that. I think we should reach out to them and find out if.
I'll email him, yeah. You can't talk to a real person.
Number 6, amend Stacy Johnson start date, to 9/26/2022 at 1769. We already did the 1769. We had the start date wrong, as I mentioned to everybody a while back. I just wanna do a motion, for the record to have the start date for Stacy Johnston be 9/26/2022.
What did we put it at?
I
It
wanna
was
say,
like 10/1, something like that.
yeah,
We just picked-
10/1,
October 1st.
Yeah, we just picked a first day of a pay period.
yeah.
Was that the wrong,
It would turn out to be not
Yep.
Okay.
enough.
Yeah. And as I said, she actually did start that job on Monday the 26th.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
Motion by Ron, second by Sean. Any, discussion?
No?
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none. Highway report. Anybody see that column here?
I didn't see that in there.
There's a sewer.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to look for that at the.
That one's on your phone?
Want me to get the email?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right, you got it. He sent it to all of us, didn't he?
Yes. The Mud Lake project has been completed. Bailey Settlement Road is complete. Log Hill has been surface treated and is complete. We put 1.5 inch top on Westminster Park Road along with shoulders. The people seem very happy. The men are adjusting our gravel roads and are getting them prepared for winter. We still have some winter sand to put up, and Jim's tearing his truck down, equipping it with a plow and winter equipment.
Okay, that's the highway report. Abandoned roads, just wanna clarify, something, and that is, the Barrett Road, Mike had talked to me about that, and that I believe that he wanted that to start at the end of the blacktop. We've had some people come forward that own some property down there, and they're against, us abandoning the Barrett Road. And the other roads, we had already, made a decision on that we were not gonna abandon, which was Rabbit Hill, there was 2 or 3 of them.
Yep.
Yeah. So I
So that's
say,
an issue.
I say we take no action on this abandoned road deal for right now unless something changes.
We can't, right? I
Because
mean,
of the
they
regulations.
have to agree to it.
They have to agree to it?
Well, there were certain
It gets
things.
abandoned
And
and
certain
it goes
criteria.
to the landowners, right?
It's not-
Traffic,
Yeah, there was like level of use and stuff,
yeah,
which, what we were told is different than what they're saying.
yes. That's what
So it
people,
doesn't meet the criteria,
Right.
so it sounds like.
and actually, you'll see later on in the agenda, there's a petition and a bunch of stuff here from people in Plessis that was put together by Tim Helmer, that I'm gonna get to later, but, it talks about the Barrett Road, and he's got people that live there and use it that have signed petitions, so. I'll move on to the next one, the water report, Jamie?
Alright, so in the water, I've been doing my daily, weekly, and monthly testing. We did a quarterly billing read, everybody got billed. Me and Jay rebuilt one of the valves at the Redwood Pump Station. And then in the sewer, I've been working with Jay, helping him when needed. And then in the DPW, we've taken out a section of the wall at the Flume and Redwood beside Nate Frost. Hopefully it'll get some more water flowing. We've been helping with the project down at the skating rink, hauling concrete blocks, stone, whatever the guys needed down there. We've went and got our plows, made sure they're ready to go. Hopefully we don't need them for 3 or 4 more months. So I called Van Fertile Ford on the truck that we're talking about ordering, and they're gonna come back to me with a price, hopefully next week. The way it sounds, they're not gonna give much of a state bid price. And then, so once we get the price, there's a 3-day window that you have to say, yes, I'm gonna order this truck, or no. So, I'm thinking like the 1st of November, we're gonna have to make a decision on it, so. I don't know if you guys wanna set a price, how,
We can just go out and email, right?
well, how much
Right,
is too
say,
much?
How does the state price work? I thought that it was something that was literally.
Well, what's happening is, with Ford, they're, so, far backed up on the super duties
Mm-hmm.
that, you know, if they're gonna make them, they're gonna make a profit on them. You know, instead of,
Biggest they can.
They're gonna be an EV company.
Yeah.
They're switching.
so I know I talked to, Trish Payne at the state park,
Electric.
and they're actually, they're going Dodge.
Oh, yeah.
Ford's going
You know,
down.
they're paying sticker price, but it's cheaper than what Fords are selling for, so.
And the best price I could get was from Taylor Caprera, and it was on a Dodge.
Yes.
He said, I can't deal on the other ones at all.
So we just, I mean, I don't know why they're giving us like a 3-day window to order them.
We should probably
Up higher.
just get a quote on all the comparables.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why, yeah,
We're looking at what, 250 gas, weren't we, or diesel?
Yeah.
F-350.
Gas.
1 ton gas.
Gas. Mike's looking for a diesel. Mike is doing the 550, so we, which we're talking about combining that too, because we passed that, that's in our budget. The state bid price that we bought Jamie's truck on was about $36,000.
Just 30.
Yeah.
I think Mike's
Yeah,
was 36.
yeah, Mike's,
but
I'm sorry.
That was a year.
And the price I got from Taylor was $46,000 on a Ram.
compared to the 30,
Same thing.
36 is the most recent comparison, I guess.
Yeah.
So I guess I wanna compare you
So I think,
for the shock.
I think your dealers
Yeah.
or
Coming.
your manufacturers, or maybe it's probably the dealers, are probably putting a big stink about this state bid, because
Well, they don't have any inventory, right?
As we all
So gotta
know.
move them out for a
Right.
state bid, they're not happy about that. Cause most of them are going over MSRP now. Right?
Yeah, I
So
think He said at
your,
the time I called, he had
market
300
adjustments,
quotes.
what they're saying.
so,
it's the same thing they did, it's the same thing they did to us on the skid steer, or the Bobcat a year ago, if you remember. That price all of a sudden in 1 week changed 10 grand, and they called it, what was that word used?
Market adjustment.
yeah,
That's what the manufacturer sent a notice.
uh-huh.
Actually, dealers usually throw market adjustment on it, cause the sticker's still from the same.
Yeah, exactly.
They rip those out of the
So,
windows now.
like I said, I'll know more hopefully next week.
Yeah, and like I said to you today, I go back to Taylor and try to,
Right, I'm just.
because that was a month ago. And that was, I don't know, maybe stuff's not available.
you know,
I didn't get,
I'd like to get the Ford price and then,
that was for one
then we
ton.
got something to go
I know
on.
someone too, I'll ask someone about.
So that's what's
We're
going
not
on.
locked into Ford for some reason, right?
No, I think we can go wherever, as I said, just get comparables,
Yeah,
see where it ends up, and
Yeah, because
So
they
the
were,
reason
they used to be
Ford's
Chevys.
Always been on state bid.
it's just always been that
yeah, it was a
way.
no-brainer.
You're right,
Yeah.
so, like I said, hopefully next week I'll have more information and I'll tell Brent and he can
Okay.
forward it. And that's it,
Did you do DPW too? You did,
I
right?
just did that, yeah.
Yep. Arena Bolton Ave report, everybody knows what's been going on, down there, they put the, do you have anything, Sean?
No,
I'll
just
let you
what you were gonna say, put the pad down, the stone pad with the concrete barriers on the outside there in preparation for the AVRDs to get delivered. They should be there tomorrow for the turf. Talked to Matt today, the turf's scheduled to come up either the 26th or 27th, somewhere in that area, and then immediately following that, the compressors will probably kick on.
I think he's coming on the 26th or 27th also to fire up to.
That's right, yep.
Fire the
They'll
compressor.
start. Talked to Jamie a little bit too, just before the meeting, and there shouldn't be a lot of prep work down there, just clean the floors, I think, before they lay the ice surface. There's not any adhesive, it's just Velcroed, so.
That's kinda what Dennis said, the same thing.
And we're just gonna double-check the electric meter to make sure that we're not turning those on the day before it gets read.
And we went through that a couple of months ago and had it figured out, I don't remember where we were when Nicole was on top of that with the billing.
Yeah, just need to double-check it.
Yeah. Okay. Youth program report.
One second. So, Town of Alexandria Youth Program still currently holding co-ed fall soccer, grades kindergarten all the way through 6. All those practices are still being held on the turf. Grades 4 through 6 have had several scrimmages actually against local teams. The turf's getting a lot of positive feedback from those groups too, and we're getting a lot of requests to consider leaving it there for a while, so, you know, participation rates are still up, going good. The 4 through 6 team actually is having a game against a YMCA premier team, so it's kind of cool. It's creating some new opportunities for the kids. This is gonna be the last week for games and practices though, obviously with the turf coming up. Planning's still underway for our basketball season. Sent an email out to everybody the other day about what we can do in regards to that. We're still waiting for an answer. Did you ask Andy about that?
No,
No?
that was for the what, no?
compensating the church for usage.
Oh.
No, I didn't. So Andy, we have go ahead, Chuck.
We're, looking to the Reformed Church for possibly using their space for basketball practices. And the question came up, actually, from our associate director, if it's permissible or allowable for a township to cut a check to a church, compensate them for that.
Well, the local gyms have torn down, the high school, there's no high school. So all the basketball teams are gonna do almost here. We don't have an option, we normally have, which would be the local high school.
I see. So the local high school was shut down and that gym was shut down.
Shut down for a year from now.
Right. And so there's no other alternatives in the community.
No.
Normally, does the town provide gym space? Who's gonna be using the gym that the municipality pays for?
Just the town youth program.
The town youth program.
Yes.
And historically, the town youth program has rented the space at the high school.
Yes,
You rent that space.
given.
Yeah. One municipality to another. And so where's the new space? Where's the new space?
It's right down the road at the Reformed Church.
In the village.
In the village.
Local church.
In their social hall.
Yeah.
Their social hall is like a basketball court.
Yep. And there are no other alternatives.
Not really.
No, none.
Right. And the rate that's being charged, what's that look like?
Undetermined. We kind of wanted to cross this bridge before going to the next.
Right. So the municipality, the town rents, presumably they're from a non-for-profit entity.
Right.
And you're gonna pay either at or below whatever the amount of maintenance once you determine what that is.
Correct.
And there's no other place to go.
Correct.
And the fact that the high school has been shut down, that's where you normally, conduct the municipal recreational activities.
Correct.
You can't do that on the development.
Okay.
You don't have a choice.
Yeah.
You have to be careful on what rate you're paying, right?
Can't be absorbed.
Yeah.
Right.
That's price cap. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep, sure.
Right. What became of the Redwood Fire Hall that used to be the school gymnasium? Is that inusable as a court? I mean, for many years, that was the gymnasium for Redwood High School.
Yeah. Quite a few years ago, right?
Oh, that's a real good question.
Well, no, I think we have the answer to that question because our youth, one of our youth directors went to them and talked to them.
That was basketball, even back then. I mean,
And,
Is it a possibility?
no, it wasn't a possibility, there was a lot going on, and they just did not want to make it a possibility. I don't want to say did not want to make it that, but,
It wasn't a possibility at the time.
yeah,
So they have been approached.
yes. Matter of fact, it was quite a while ago.
Right.
I mean, we can follow up.
Yeah.
Okay.
13, the 2 playgrounds, I think I told the board members that we were doing some work at the playgrounds. We added a concrete picnic table to the playground in Plessis, and just because every time we add something, we do something, I usually contact the insurance company, so I contacted the insurance company because of that. And she called me back and said the playground's not covered. So I need, and she checked the other playground was not listed. So I need a motion to add the 2 Redwood plus this playgrounds to our insurance policy. The cost of it is about $12.31 for $54,000 of coverage.
Sure, I'll make that motion.
Motion by Sean, second by Ron. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Open separate bank accounts for General A, General B, DA, and DB. At our budget meeting, what Bill Dajon was on at, and the one, I believe we had a conference call too. Both Bill Dajon and Mike Lasan strongly recommend that we have separate bank accounts for our different funds.
So this eliminates pool.
Actually, it won't.
Still be pooled with some of the special districts, right?
Yeah, it'll still go, everything will still go into pool checking after it comes out of a savings account right now. These accounts are gonna be all savings accounts because they're all gonna be interest bearing.
Oh, okay, that's, okay, they're required, they call them eminent money market daily accounts.
Yeah.
That's why I was wondering why all of a sudden they're saying to do that, where.
Because it's been offset and everything, I was told.
Everything here.
Right.
I think the interest bearing was a big key.
Yeah, that was. Well, and that actually is for clarification, it's gonna definitely be less work for Nicole.
Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely said it was gonna be less posting.
Unless we're gonna have 4 more checking accounts to balance
Yeah, I
as
know.
opposed to 1.
And and they want us to do water and sewer too, but I didn't go there tonight. We're gonna
Okay.
do this right now.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's no cost.
No.
Actually, as you said, they're interest bearing, so.
You know, and we can, in our pool checking account, our balance runs between $750,000 and $2 million all the time.
Yeah.
You know, don't get me wrong, we got 4 CDs that are getting interest, but that's not in those monies that I just told you, that's other monies.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So I need a motion to open up separate accounts for general A, general B, DA, and DB.
Mike, can I get your name in a minute?
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mike, second. Sean? Any discussion?
Okay.
Well, Brent's looking this way, he didn't want you to feel left out.
Zoolander, only thing left. We ought to move them over here.
I'm okay, don't.
That's sort of nice. All those in favor of moving or opening the separate bank accounts for general A, general B, DA, and DB, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. Okay, the Tim Helmer document, everybody's got a copy of that? Abandoning the road, a big part of this document is about abandoning the road in the petition. I think we've settled the abandoning the Gale Road deal. Does anybody have any more to say about that?
No. Just where did the request initiate from to abandon the road?
Mike, from the highway.
Okay.
If you remember a while back, he sent us an email that I think we had 4 roads on there that he was looking at. And he's been dealing with Jefferson County and state to find out the regulations and what's required to abandon a road.
Okay.
It's not gonna affect us now.
This is quite the,
You know, he's got Rabbit Hill in here, we definitely are not gonna do that, so we're not doing anything with abandoning the roads.
And think about this, abandoning road. And I know working for the state, believe it or not, abandons roads, you know, little pieces that get cut off, you know, especially when you realign a section of road, there'll be a little piece, and that gets abandoned, then the adjacent property owner eventually makes its way back to the tax roll. That's generally, you know, what that is for. A really good example of what in the town of Alexandria where this would actually be appropriate. If you go out county, let's say Route 26, heading towards Redwood, and you get to 192 and you continue on, there's that big sweeping curve to the left that Bobby Dickhouse. You look closely there, looks like a road that goes straight, and then there's like a row of like bushes behind that trailer, and eventually comes back around. That's where the old road used to go. And then when County Route 192, believe it or not, used to be a state road. But when they realigned that road, you know, with a sharp curve with that big sweeping curve, they left this little piece out. That's still a road. And that's what this is really more appropriate for, because what ends up happening is, say somebody decides and wants to develop the property off that road, because it's still on the rolls as a town road, the town would be required to bring it up to town standards. It's because it's still a town road. It's on the books, it's there, unless you go through the legal step of abandoning it. That's a good example of what this is for. Not a road that people live on.
Okay, anybody else have any, just, let me read a couple parts of this. It's determining roadways, as a section of Cottage Hill Road, road leading to sewage treatment plant off of County Road to Teresa. Plus this area, known as Creek Road from He's got a lot of stuff here. He's done a lot of
A typical Tim Helmer.
What's that?
Typical Tim Helmer,
Yeah.
puts a lot of work into stuff.
Put a lot of work into it. He talks on the questions, he has questions about the abandoning road, I think we've taken care of that. Is what you're considering legal, morally correct, should it not be? Concludes you will find a petition for residents of such said roadway.
What do we need to look at?
That's kinda why I'm going through this.
Oh, we don't really need to go
This
through
is all about.
What's that?
I think this is 100% on the.
Abandoned?
Subject of abandoning. I don't see a second issue.
Maybe it's time to retrain our plow operators.
What?
He has in here, and has a few non-meshable. Okay, I won't go there. There's a petition, and the petition has got 16 signatures. Hopefully, and I'll reach out to Tim, hopefully he'll be happy that our answer is that we're not gonna abandon the Bear Road.
Right.
That's pretty much what all of it is. And that was 15, 16 speed complaints. I sent this out a week ago to everybody. This is on Route 37. We're looking into it. I just got an email today, about these signs, and I know, as Mike has said, we've got to, go through a process, but, interesting, in the end of this, she has a deal where she took everybody's speeds. If she had some way to do that, and that's, what's that zone, 30 or 35?
35.
30?
35.
So, the petition was initiated by a concerned citizen. The consensus on the whole is an inevitable, terrible tragedy will occur in the hamlet. There are locals, young and old, who race dirt bikes, motorcycles up and down Route 37, weaving around vehicles. They are doing stunts and excessive speeds. The traffic is speeding all hours of day and night. Many are worn out with the Jake brakes coming and going. Each household said they can no longer allow their children or grandchildren in the front yard due to the peril they anticipate. Mike, at this point, Mike, I want to ask you, I've seen signs where you enter, speed zones that talk about not using the Jake brake.
Yep.
So that is possible. Yep. And that's a state road. We have to go to the state to do that?
Go to the state.
Okay.
Yep. I don't know if you recall, I don't know exactly when, but probably at least 2 years ago, I drafted a letter for you to send to the state, because like.
In relation to speed.
Right, what initiates everything, they do a speed study and determine, what's the appropriate speed. They're not gonna put it artificially low just because that's people want, because they involve the state police as well. The state police aren't gonna enforce an artificially low number. It's not worth signing it.
We've already got the low number, 35.
Right, but I'm just saying, that's what they came to, but what you end up happening, why they do continuous, probably see like they have the rubber things across the road?
Yeah.
You ever see that, you drive it, that's part of a speed study. And you do that every once in a while, just to do a bunch of different things, you traffic counts and stuff like that, but also it'll tell, how fast people are going, the breakdown of different kinds of vehicle. Believe it or not, those two hoses will tell you whether it's a car, or a truck, a tractor trailer, all those kind of things. But every once in a while, they do it to reconfirm the speed limit. And like say, as opposed to 35, if people aren't complying to that, then they kind of start doing extra stuff. And that's what needs to happen.
Okay.
And like I said before, I think we should, I'll find that letter, we can reconstitute it, send it to them again. I think you and me, or you as a town supervisor, go down to Watertown, have a meet with the DOT and kind of take things like this. Because I've spoken to Mr. Brown, Trevor Brown rather, on this as well, which I relayed to you, and I contacted my counterparts with the DOT, and obviously they're thinking about other things other than Redwood, New York, but we should go down there and actually meet with them, have a conversation.
Okay. The drivers as a whole do not slow down for our Amish neighbors. We are unwilling to wait for a tragedy to motivate our representatives to solve this problem. The information will be shared and forwarded to town, county, state departments, and a timely solution is deeply appreciated. That's where we're at for that. Number 17, move November monthly meeting to 11/9 for budget public hearing purposes. Usually what we do is move that meeting earlier, and we have one meeting in November because we're required to have the public hearing within 2 days or 4 days of election day, Ron?
Yeah, I think so, like within 2. And the election's on the 8th, so this will be the day after.
Which usually that's when we move it to is Wednesday night.
Yep.
Was there anybody, I know Steve talked to me earlier because the village got their meeting the same night.
We moved it because of election night to Wednesday.
Oh, that's good, you guys are usually Tuesday, so
We're
you went a
usually
day
Tuesday.
later? What's that?
We're usually Tuesday, we moved it to Wednesday at 5:15.
Right.
So we probably won't be seeing you that night.
Not if you're having. Darn.
We'll take that into account on the agenda.
Thank you.
If everybody's okay with that, I need a motion.
I won't be here, so I'll make a motion.
I mean, do you really want us to move it to a different, we got a recording that you can go home and watch after your meeting.
Can I still call you?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay,
I'll
so
make that motion.
Motion by Sean, second by Mike, 6 o'clock.
Yep.
I'm moving to you now, okay?
Yep, okay.
For 6 o'clock on November 9th. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none. Same thing in December, and I just looked at the calendar, saw it was the 21st, it was close to Christmas, and a lot of times we move it earlier, so it's not so close to Christmas. Anybody have an issue with December 14th?
No.
Take a motion? Motion by Sean, second by Mike,
Okay, yes.
to move it to the December 14th. Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? None. Declare old trailer and water truck excess equipment so we can put it out to bid. Or we can put it on the Auctions International, however we do it.
Were we also gonna do the, Komatsu excavator? Wasn't there talk about that?
It was talk about it, yes.
Okay, I'm just, cause we bought that excavator, so is that necessary?
I think we need to talk to Mike a little bit more about it. I believe they've used that machine in the last month, haven't they?
I would think he'd wanna, I mean, it's up to Mike, but I think he'd wanna keep it around just for big jobs, you know.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Okay, I just know that we talked about that, so.
Yep. So I need a motion to declare those, the word's not excess equipment, what do we call it? Surplus. Yeah, surplus equipment. I need that motion. Motion by Sean,
I'll second
second
that.
by Mike. Any discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none. What did we decide on this? I've got a couple different things going on here. We got
Friday at,
2 days to pay the bill, so Friday,
It's at 9 AM on Friday, right?
date's 21st, and 9 AM.
Yep.
So I need a motion to adjourn this meeting to October 21st at 9 AM at the town hall. I got a motion by Ronnie, and I got a second by Mike.
okay.
Okay?
And the intent is to take care of the bills,
Yes.
but because it's an adjourned meeting,
Be all business, all
we
town
can,
business.
we can do anything at that time, but the intent is just the bills.
Absolutely.
9 AM you guys are doing, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, yeah. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none. I don't have anything else. Does anybody else have anything else?
Just, executive session.
Yep. So I need a motion to go into executive session to discuss employment of a current town employee and employment of a future town of Alexandria employee. Motion by Ron, second by Mike. Yep. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
So when you put it out to bid, you go local bid or auction international or?
I'm not sure. We'll have to decide that. We've done a bunch of stuff on Auctions International,
We've been,
and we've done some stuff local.